Welcome
Okay.
everybody back to Veil of Sound. This is our normal Sunday interview. No, wait, it is not a normal interview because we have, and I'm sure he will not like the expression, but we have a living legend here with us. Billy Gould is joining the show. Billy, thanks for joining us.
Peace. Thank you.
hopefully soon. Yes, that would be cool. First question, and I know you will know where I'm going with this. What was the best book you've read lately?
Oh, boy. That's really big. That's really big. I tend to read a book every couple weeks.
Cool.
And I like all of them that I've been reading. What's one that really, the best one recently? My mind is a blank. We're gonna have to come back to that.
No problem. I will get back.
I almost want to walk over to my bedroom and look at my stack of books and find out what's the best one I've read the past. Actually, what am I reading right now? I didn't bring it with me. Oh, shit.
Are you one of those people who reads one book at a time, or one of those crazy ones who have like 5 books on the stack?
Well, I have like 2 or 3 right now I'm reading because some of them are so dense. Like I'm reading The Mass Psychology of Fascism, right? You can't just read that like a book. You got to kind of take it and leave it. Take it. I read it in college, 40 years ago, and it seems like a good thing to revisit.
Yeah, at the moment, it definitely does.
Yeah, right.
But it's interesting. I always ask myself, how do people do that? I mean, like with the book that you've just mentioned, like psychology books and stuff, I can understand that. But I know people who are reading 3 or 4 fictional novels at the same time, and I'm like, I would get lost.
Yeah. I mean, I notice I get older, I become more efficient with my thinking. So I get on a track, and it's very hard to get onto another track, if I'm getting, especially, I mean, with a fictional book, when I've kind of immersed myself in it.
Yeah.
I just don't do that well. Some people can do it. I'm like that with music too. I don't really multitask, really. I get on one thing and I get very focused on it.
Are you then going down the rabbit hole until it's finished?
I think other people would say that I do. To me, it's just normal. That's one of the few things. My life is pretty chaotic, and I'm really not a very organized kind of person. But on things like music, I can get very, very, very detail oriented. It's just something that happens, and I mean, it just feels like normal to me. But I've heard other people describe me as being a little bit anal retentive on certain perfectionist. That's the word that's used.
Yeah, but we both know that the meaning and the connotation of that word depends largely on a lot of different factors. The relationship you have to the person,
Absolutely,
the situation in which it is being said, and also the general idea of, is something who is somebody who is a perfectionist, is perfectionist seeking, or is that word, whatever, is that a positive or a negative word? So I think that is like,
well, yeah. And sometimes there is like, yes, you're right. And perfection seeking, could mean, wanting to do perfect things and not want to make mistakes, but it can also mean, you're not affected by something until it hits you at the right time. And if you're a perfectionist because something's not hitting you, you have to keep going until you get that payoff, or what's the point of doing it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, pleasure is my driving principle. That's basically what it is. If I'm not getting the pleasure, I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had like a project where at some point in the process you felt like it sounded like fun, but it's not, so let's rather stop it?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. A few things. And I've always got like ideas and stuff that never really make it, that you work on, and then they just let them go. But I did a thing after when Faith No More split up. I did a thing with John Hudson, our guitar player, and we worked on it for a while, and it just wasn't happening. It was a lot of work, and you become loyal to something because you put so much time into it, and this is kind of dedication. You don't want to be that guy that just, it gets tough and you just walk away, but sometimes you got to look at it and you got to go, this can go. And that's what it is. And I mean, to be honest with you, anything should be like that, really. I mean, before you sign off on something, it's not finished until it's finished. I think
That's true. That's true. It's not
you
over
got to
till
let
the cat
anything
lady
go.
sings. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Would you, in that connection, describe yourself as a workaholic? Or is everything that you are agreeing to and that you keep on doing, is it so much fun that it's not an addiction?
I'm a lazy person. People have described me as a workaholic, and I see myself as extremely lazy that just does things where I get energy from them that makes me want to do them. But I mean, if you look at my work history, is having jobs, and I've worked for other people. They've all been horrible jobs, and I've got fired for most of them. So it's really I would not describe myself as a workaholic, but I have worked very hard on some things, and I do a lot of work. Like I have my record label, and it's a lot of work, and it doesn't bother me because I get a benefit from it. So as long as I find a benefit, I feel like I find the energy to do it.
Hmm. Yeah, because as you said, if something gives you pleasure, then in a positive way like this one, if it gives you pleasure, then it's usually not an addiction. Let's refer back to that best book lately question. Have you made your mind up?
Yes.
So,
I can't remember what I was just reading that I'm reading right now. I can't remember what it is. This is really stupid. I can't. Maybe I'm having a mental collapse here, a minor one.
For a guy who just turned 60, it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Shit.
Anyway, to build a connection. Huh?
No, I can't tell you what I'm reading. I can't tell you.
To build the connection for those people who don't see it, Billy is releasing another record pretty soon. When this is out, it will be December. It's been out for a few weeks. It's by one of your various projects, and this one is called Talking Book. That's where my question comes from.
Right.
This release is another soundtrack that you did. It's not the first soundtrack you ever did, but it's another one. How different is the approach of writing a soundtrack than to writing a normal set of songs for a record? For you?
I mean, this film was over an hour and a half in length, so very different. I mean, you get these visuals, and it's a blank slate, really. Like, where do you start? I think that you could probably approach a film from a lot of different angles. Where writing in normal music, writing a song, writing an album's worth of songs, I think there's a certain place you start that I think is consistent. You want to start something that kind of has some movement that feels good. You don't want it to get boring, and you want it to have a certain integrity to it. And with a film, when you're working off of other visuals, those rules get thrown out the window, because really you are kind of like forced to like listen or look at what's coming to you and make it fit with that. It's not coming from you. It was really, really challenging for me to think like that, because for 40 years, I've been the one, the inspiration has come from something that I built, and it came from me. And coming from somebody else's thing is really, like, the beginning of it's very intimidating, I would say.
But it didn't feel as if it was taking away your freedom, did it?
Well, okay. I mean, I kind of resisted the urge not to panic. I wanted to panic in the beginning. I mean, because the first thing I do is what I know, right? And I see some things, I see the theme, and I start writing some stuff, and it's very, it's very left brain stuff. It's stuff like ideas that I've already had, and I'm trying to plug them in, and it's kind of like trying to force myself onto this thing, and it's not feeling good, and going, wow, I don't know if I can do this, and getting to a point, and Jared, luckily, working with him is really good, because he's a very abstract thinker musically, and I'm a more linear thinker. With him, I kind of was able to kind of let that go a little bit, and get back into feeling this thing, and not having a result, and kind of discovering a result. Great exercise. It's like meditation more than writing. And that's really what got me through that.
So how must we envision or how must we imagine the real songwriting or music writing process for this one? Did you and Jared sit down in a room with Natasha, or did she just give you a brief storyline? Did you watch the movie together? How did it work?
She gave us some film clips to kind of show us kind of the visual kind of aesthetic of the film. And she kind of picked us to do this because I think that already hearing our previous music, she knew with her visuals that this was going to probably fit. And we saw that was a real relief because her taste and our taste kind of fit together really well. But no, it was just basically the film, not final edit, but basically that. And Jared and I were kind of like, let's divide and conquer. You get this. I get this. Let's see what we got. And the great thing about working with a director, which I wasn't used to, is I'm used to working with producers. Like, when you work with Andy Wallace or Rolly Mosselman, they kind of are like your third eyes, your third ears that kind of say, this is missing. I hear things, you could do this a little better. A person who's a visual director, they're just taking your sound that you're giving them at face value. So some of these things kind of felt like they were demo ideas. And she's like, perfect. Let's use it. And we were like, whoa, we thought this was a starting point. And then we realized actually, with film, you can get by a lot further sometimes doing a lot less. My inclination would have been, this is a great start. Now we can flesh this out and we can develop this further. And a lot of things didn't need development. They kind of fit in with the scene. And now looking back on it, yes, I think that's absolutely the way it was. But it was really good with her because she could, without having to think about a goal other than it working with the visuals itself, it's kind of nice. It was kind of a great thing.
I did a little bit of research on the movie and also on your relationship to Natasha. And what struck me was that the storyline of the movie is, I don't want to say an up and down, but it seems as if it's not a popcorn kind of movie. Haven't seen the whole thing yet.
No.
But it's a movie. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's about the tumultuous history. It's like all the effects of the war in Yugoslavia in the 90s. So
yes, and before that, and after that, and also about families and how families keep their. Everybody. At a certain point in life, some are more fortunate than others, but there are difficult things that happen in history or in your environment, and how families deal with those things, even that didn't participate in them. Somehow they're in that environment, and a kid asks, Dad, how come? What did you do when this happened?
Yeah.
And he has to try to answer it. Right. This is what this film is about. She left Serbia, and she couldn't really. She was very frustrated being there, and she couldn't verbalize why. And I think this film was a way for her to kind of go back and look and talk to her family members and go, why did I want to leave? What happened to this family? And so it's a very heavy, not a feel-good movie, but nobody gets killed, nobody gets tortured. There's not a lot of violence in it, but it's there. It's very, very there, and you feel it very much.
Yeah, and what I saw a tidbit of film somewhere. And I thought, okay, this is one of those movies which are heavy emotionally. There is violence, but not physical violence, if you ask me, from what I saw.
That's right.
And it's a very up and down movie, which is very interesting. And in some ways, the record reflects that also. It sounds as if you guys used for lack of a better word, a tumultuous palette of colors. But the way you said it, it's not something that you had agreed on before.
No, it isn't. But I know Jared pretty well now. We kind of go to certain places. We like the same places and we watch the same kind of films. And so I hate to say it, but it's kind of easy for us to go where we went with this. It's just kind of, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of where we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, with music, to me, I mean, the biggest sin of making music is being neutral, just doing
Mm-hmm.
things that are neutral. I think that anything expressed, as long as it's expressed in a very powerful way, I think is good. And that's how I approach what I do. I think if I do something that really doesn't do much of anything, I think it's kind of a failure from my point. I don't feel like
Mm-hmm.
I succeeded in expressing a thought. And they can be very, very violent, and they can be very, very beautiful, and they can be a mix of both. But as long as that's there, and back to the film thing, I mean, I think that vibe was there in the film for us to be that way and be the way we approach what we do. So it was a really nice combination. I don't know if somebody was making a science fiction film and they had us do it, it would have the same effect, and we would probably have to approach this from a bit of a different angle. And it was fiction, that's another thing as well. But for something like this, it's when it's all feeling. I think that's where we really came. It really worked well. I've told people before, like with talking book type stuff, it's like working with clay. It's not like building a ship. It's more like you keep working the clay until you know you're there, and you keep working it and working it, working it. This music can be, it seems very simple to listen to, and that's good. And it can also be very simple to make, or until it feels right, it's not finished. And I mean, we had a song we worked on the last record. Could have been a couple of years. I mean, for some abstract song that it's only us. We're the only ones that are saying it's not finished. I don't think anybody else maybe could even have told the difference, but we weren't there. And with this film, we got there, and
Mm-hmm.
she was the right person for us to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because on the one hand, you describe your way of making music with talking book as a very
Mm-hmm.
process-oriented thing. And on the
Mm-hmm.
other hand, I mean, like, this was a movie, it had to come out at some point. So there was a
Exactly.
deadline.
Yes. Right. Right.
And the other thing that strikes me, and maybe that is like even nicer in a way, you've said that the relationship you have with Jared is a one of a great mutual understanding. Do you think you could have done a score for this movie with anybody else?
Yeah, but it would have been different.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have been like this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because when I listen,
I think. Yeah,
you
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
When you no, uh, Jared, for music concrete, for found sounds, he's like one of the best guys I've ever seen do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he can kind of like conjure things out of nothing, like found objects, and make them sound musical, which is
Mm-hmm.
a great. And that's so. That's my learning part. I watch what he does and I take his lead and I kind of go there, and it's a new thing for me. I think with somebody else, I probably would have approached this more like from a musician band type perspective
Mm-hmm.
most of the time.
It's a great thing to hear that somebody who's been in the business for this long
Mm-hmm.
still works and enjoys a learning process. That is very, very cool. You've not only been in bands, you've also, for nearly 25 years, have had your own label, Koolarrow
Mm-hmm.
Records. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, thank you for giving me the best post-metal album of the year. We'll come back later to it. And no, everybody,
Okay.
it's not Swans. It's not Swans. No. But let's get back to Koolarrow Records. How close are
Mm-hmm.
you to the scene nowadays?
Not very.
Mm-hmm.
Not very. I don't know. The scene is weird. I mean, COVID took a big bite out of that too. Like San Francisco tech industry took a bite out of that. It's not like I can go out and see gigs every night like I used to. The city's different. Um, I also think that really the scene has a different purpose. Like now, there's a lot of bands. I hear good music. I hear good bands, and they want to know if I want to release what they do, and I really think that I'm not so needed as a label as before. I think I could be a curator where people can look at what I'm releasing and seeing, well, okay, like I trust this guy's opinion, so maybe I'll give this a special listen. But for the most part, I'm just taking a band's money by putting it out on my label because they can do everything that I can do now themselves with digital delivery, and everything is digital delivery. And they can make vinyl, and they can sell it through Bandcamp, and they can do all of these things. So I think the scene, I don't really, I'm not actively looking at that. I'm only really taking on things where I think I can make a difference, where I think I can help something. So I'm not doing a lot of releases anymore. I'm just doing things where I think that I'm kind of needed. Like if I don't do it, this isn't probably going to happen. Talking book, it's my music. So it's nice for me to put it out myself. But like there's another band called Sleep Bomb that I'm putting out that I just put out last week that, they do soundtracks to films, to public domain films, and it's very doomy and it's very cool, but it's really different than a normal just touring rock band. And so I kind of felt like this is something where I can help and I can kind of try to put it in a platform that maybe they might have gotten lost otherwise. So this is where, I get excited and I take part. But it could be a ska band if it's the right situation. I mean, it really is. It could be anywhere. It's just I feel like I can do something to help it. Really, I can feel
as
useful.
You've already mentioned, Sleep Bomb. For first of all, I hope that everybody saw that we had the premiere a few weeks ago, so we were there first. And second of all, that is the band that I was referring to. That has like
okay, cool.
Droney, doomy, post-metal kind of sound. And it really struck me. So how did this happen? Did you see them live? Did they approach you? How did it happen?
Really interesting. They actually, a couple guys that have lived in my neighborhood for a long time. And I've known them over the years, and I've kind of seen them play here and there. And about 2 years ago, they did a Conan the Barbarian live performance. I went to go see them at this theater in San Francisco at a film festival, and it was great. I got to say, like I didn't realize what a dark film Conan actually was till I saw that, and I actually got like kind of into the film, and it's Schwarzenegger for fuck's sake. And it was great. It was awesome, and I really liked it. And I really saw the power of like what they do live and with the film. Like it really got me. And so, we have beers every once in a while, and they were just talking about how they want to start really, start doing more shows and getting out there and kind of making this a thing. And with COVID being outside, you can actually put a screen up and do outdoor shows. And like, this is something that could be really interesting. And, it could make music festivals better where there's like a, music stage, but there could be a tent with films and stuff. And I really saw a potential of that. And I like the way these guys do what they do. So about, a year ago, we started talking about, let's figure out how I can help you do this, and that's where we're at now. And this first release just came out. Yeah. Last month. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's also a very interesting choice. I mean, like they chose to do a score for The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which is like a quintessential German experimentalist film of the 1920s. Very, very interesting storyline. Very interesting also when it comes to visuals. And then the band comes and adds something. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but what struck me, and that's also what I've already written for our little premiere, they are able to give the song the kind of grandezza that it needs, the splendor, that little sparkle that soundtracks from the 20s had. And still it sounds as if, and at the same time it sounds as if it's 2023. Mm-hmm. Is that just something where you said like, okay, that is something that strikes me, or did they approach you with questions on their sound, or are you just the guy who puts it out?
I saw what they did with Conan, and I kind of just let them do what they do. I didn't get in the way production-wise at all. Usually I do with my bands, actually, but not in this case. I just kind of let it go. They have their guys they work with, and I just wanted to see what they could do. I really like what they do. What's different than a lot of other bands I worked with before is, it's very doomy, but it's not like a testosterone kind of doomy. Like, like macho doomy. There's some real delicate parts. There's almost parts where it feels like it's going to fall apart. Like very sensitive, you know, which you don't think about doom music like that. And to me, that's like their real characteristic. That's something that they can do really well that a lot of other people don't do. And I didn't want to get in the middle of that at all. You know, that's something that they know they got it already.
What is also interesting, and there is a parallel to the Talking Book record, the Sleep Bomb record is a co-release with Koolarrow Records and Consoling Sounds. The Talking Book record is a co-release with Sub Ost from Italy, if I remember correctly. So is that something that is also something that you like to do, like work with other labels so that maybe bands like that get a little bit more attention?
Yes, I think that's always a good thing. I mean, I'm one of these kind of people that always thinks that different elements combined together make something bigger than a single thing by itself. Always bringing new worlds into things. I don't see any bad side coming from that at all. You know, if Subsound guys like the music that we have to offer to it, and they've got a different crowd that they've been building over the years, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's interesting that both records fit perfectly well on both labels, you know.
They kind of do, right? Yeah. It's cool. I like it. To me, it just makes everything more fun. And you're bringing these different people from outside into this that it just makes it better. It makes it bigger, better, and more fun. It really does.
You have a lot of European bands on your roster. You even had a few more years ago. And you once have said that you have some kind of Central European / Hungarian roots. Is this way also a way of staying connected to your roots, or does it just come by chance?
I don't see it like that. No, what I really got to me was Faith No More toured a lot, and that's how we survived. We were kind of in the beginning. We were very weird music. It wasn't easy to get our music over the net with people. So we toured a lot. And the cool thing about touring a lot is you meet a lot of people. And I heard a lot of music. And I heard a lot of really good music that like had no chance of ever getting released in the States. And I liked what I was hearing better than what I was hearing at home from what my friends were listening to, you know. And I was just like, what a shame that like, there's this great band in Finland that nobody will ever hear, you know, that's this amazing record. And when Faith No More split up and I wanted to do something creative, you know, my feeling was, I want to try to become a pipeline that doesn't just, US isn't just exporting its culture to everybody, because let's face it, everybody outside the US knows what we do. They know all our stuff. We shove it down everybody's throats, but we don't know what's coming over there. And I think that's a real mistake. I think it's not only not fair, like we expect people to participate, you know, and pay money to see our bands and our concerts, you know, and we're not interested in theirs. Like, hey, that's not fair. Fair enough, whatever. But more than that, I think that Americans suffer too, because there's a lot of really interesting stuff happening all over the place, you know, and this place is, you know, it's just different, you know, it's just different. People have different things going on. You know, these guys like, you know, that band Naive, you know, that I worked with in Moscow, you know, they're coming from a different place, man. And bringing that energy back here, I think Americans benefit from this stuff. So I really wanted to do something, you know, I wanted to fight this kind of, I mean, we're very geographically isolated and business-wise, I think, you know, it's very easy for us to, you know, kind of operate like a kind of colonial power. And culturally, it's bad. It's bad. Nothing good comes out of it, because basically you end up spending a lot of energy just reinforcing, you know, your this position that you've carved for yourself, keeping that position, right? It generates money, pays bills, and you lose a lot of things that could improve the quality of what you do, you know, bring progress forward. So I just wanted to be a small part of that, you know, and it gave me something to do. It made me feel like I was working with music and not just in the grind of just trying to find a way to pay my rent, but doing something that was kind of meaningful. And that's kind of what made me want to do the label. And a lot of it happened to be European because I was doing a lot of touring there, and I just became more, you know, in contact with European people. I didn't have any, you know, I didn't have any really like criteria that had to be that way.
You've just spoken about a little bit, hinted at the business side of things. So one
Right.
question that struck me, I mean, like you've said it, you are now releasing 2 records in 6 weeks, something like that, within the span of 6 or 7 weeks, which is
Yeah.
a good ratio. But is Koolarrow Records at the moment only Billy Gould, or are there also other people who really work with the label, not freelancers who do stuff or so, but who really are employed by you?
Just me. Just me. If you're talking about permanent employment, whatever, that's just me. Yep.
So when I get my vinyl from you, you package and send it to me.
Not this one, because for the Eclipse, it'll be Sub Sound that's doing that.
I know. Sub oath. Yes, yes.
As I said, I'm also one of the laziest people I know, as I told you earlier. But I have. I mean, to be honest with you, most of the press gone out in the past 25 years, I've sent myself. Yes, I go to the post office, I send them. Yeah.
You've also mentioned, how you like to benefit from the perspective of our bands, and sometimes it happened that you not only worked briefly with a band, but sometimes you also jumped right in. I remember you joining Harmful 15 years ago for a brief stint when you did the 7 record and you went on tour with them. How does that happen, or what has to happen for you to make that jump and progress?
There's something that if there's one thing I really hate, it's this period that one goes through where there's just nothing interesting and nothing stimulating. And it happens to everyone. And Harmful guys just kind of called me up out of the blue. I had never met them before. And I went out to Frankfurt and with no expectations, though I liked what they had sent me. I thought the music was really good, their previous music. And I just really, we worked really hard together. We connected, and they mentioned they wanted another guitar player. And I never played guitar in a band before. So this seemed like, something stimulating was going to come out of this. And it was very stimulating. I mean, and it was back to, touring Germany, in a van again, and the Balkans. Yeah. We went to the Balkans. We went through Romania and Macedonia and Serbia and Bosnia, in a van, and all of the good and bad things that come with that. But great. It was one of these really romantic experiences of being in a band, sleeping on people's floors and just like living the dream. It was really like that. I had zero money at the end of that show, at that tour. I got paid nothing. So, but it was 2 months later and I got by for 2 months. So, there was I felt like it was definitely worth doing over not doing. I felt like my life was enriched from it, definitely.
It's a very nice thing to say, isn't it? So, Billy, first of all, thanks for all the insight into the new record. Thanks for the nice talk about Koolarrow, but nobody leaves the Veil of Sound interviews without having to start my infamous quickfire round.
Okay,
you've just mentioned the Balkans.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you went through both cities, but I think you did. Which city did you find more enjoyable, Belgrade or Sarajevo?
Oh, that's very interesting. That's dogs and cats, really.
I know. I'm a dog.
I absolutely love Sarajevo. Sarajevo is like every time I go there, I am personally touched on a deep, deep level. I feel something that's really it chills me even thinking about it and talking about it now.
Yeah.
But Belgrade feels like my home. Okay. So I have to go Belgrade.
For me, it would be Sarajevo. First of all, I got friends there, which always makes it different.
Right.
And
so you've been there?
Been to both.
Okay.
I've been to all of the Yugoslavian countries.
Oh,
cool. So it would still be Sarajevo. First, as I said, friends. Second of all, I like the food. Third of all, I think this multicultural aspect that this city has is, I don't want to say unbeatable, but it's very, very cool. And it shows you that, you know, if they really worked at it, it could work in that country.
You know, it's very, I'm glad you're bringing this up, actually. You know, Sarajevo, for people listening to this who haven't been there, if you want to go on a trip and you want to go somewhere that's a real adventure where you can learn something that will blow your mind, that's the place to go. That's a real living place that is chaotic and amazing and touching and insane, all of it.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. What he is saying, I'm down 100%.
And I mean, like, I haven't been there in the last 8 or 9 years, so I hope my recommendation is still actual. But if you ever go to Sarajevo, go to a cafe called Cafe Europa. What I liked about the cafe, it's an okay cafe, but the terrace is next to one of those huge apartment buildings, like 12, 13 stories. And in each of the balconies, you see the entrance of some of the bullets and grenades that hit the building.
Oh, yeah.
And that was striking because you notice, okay, not too long ago, there was a war here. So that's why, that's also something that I like about Sarajevo. Go to Sarajevo, go to Cafe Europa, eat some cevapcici, find out about the roses of Sarajevo, which is not a nice story. But Belgrade, also a cool city. No way.
A short story about Sarajevo. The first time I went there, it was the day that the war ended. So we drove into the city on the first night that the curfew was lifted in like 4 years. And we didn't know that. We just kind of like drove into Bosnia and there were no passport control, right? Because it was a friggin' war. And we just drove all the way to Sarajevo. We got there in the evening and everybody's drinking beer in the streets. And we didn't know why. And they just got let out for the first time. And well, we were just, what a day to pick, right? And that was, we stayed up all night, and that was one of the most amazing experiences. When I go there, and everything was shot up. I mean, it was still the war. So nothing got fixed, yet. And it was just really, it's hard to describe. It really is.
It must have been one of those once only in a lifetime events, right? Amazing.
It was absolutely, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry to interrupt you on that.
From one city that has seen a lot of pain to another city that has seen a lot of pain, Oakland.
Yeah. Okay.
Which departure hurt more? The Ace leaving for Vegas or the Raiders leaving for Vegas? Which one hurt you more?
I'm not an Oakland guy. I'm a San Francisco guy.
Yeah, but nobody leaves San Francisco, but...
How's that? Yeah, that's true. Well, there's a reason for that, yeah. Not so much, but a little bit. I mean, the World Series here, when the Giants won, that was great. My neighborhood was out of control. It was a wonderful thing. We watched I have a really great bar next door to my house, and we watched every night of the World Series.
Don't say the name, because otherwise everybody will come to your house. Yep. Cool.
Yeah. Cool. All right, man.
You've spoken about traveling. Do you rather travel by car or by plane?
Oh, I mean, car. Absolutely, by car. Absolutely.
Which band's music can you enjoy in 2023 more? Red Hot Chili Peppers or Rage Against the Machine?
Oh, my God. I mean, Rage Against the Machine, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I know you're from Los Angeles, and I know that you're like a little bit older than I am. So I guess that you were there when punk broke. Bad Religion versus the Circle Jerks.
Oh, Circle Jerks. Circle Jerks.
Interesting. Why Circle Jerks? Because of Keith?
I was there when those bands were kind of playing when they were first kind of starting, and it was just that scene. It's kind of those things you kind of had to be there. You're one of these you're a Black Sabbath person, you're a Deep Purple person, and I think that Circle Jerks, they had something also because just Keith, Keith is just such a personality.
Yeah. True. Music from the Bay Area. Which band's output, not the people, but the output, do you value more? The Dead Kennedys or Neurosis?
Oh, I mean, I have to say Dead Kennedys. Dead Kennedys to me is classic. The Dead Kennedys to me are like the Kinks. They're a timeless band. You know, they wrote classics.
Could it also be because you were there when they got big?
I saw them back in the day. Yeah, definitely. You know, I met the Neurosis guys, and the Neurosis guys came a little later, and maybe my music. I like Neurosis, so I don't mean this as a diss in any way.
Yeah.
But Dead Kennedys, you know, I first saw them. I probably was like 15 years old, and actually I met Biafra. It was amazing. My friend brought some singles he wanted signed, and we told the bouncers at the Whiskey A Go-Go that we were Jello's brothers, little brothers. And he came back there and he goes, "Do you know these guys?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know them. They're my little brothers." And he didn't know us. And he brought us backstage, and then he talked to us for like 10 minutes. Like we bored I know we bored the shit out of him. We were asking like, "What's Johnny Thunders like? Have you ever met him?" We were just asking him all these, because he's a big famous guy, you know, he would have to know. And he was really cool, man, and I never forgot that. It was something that really endeared me to them. He was really human. It was great.
So how was it then when years later you played shows with Jello?
It was great. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. You know, it's just a thing. It's just I was really happy that I got to be, you know, a chapter in his story. I thought it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like you've been a chapter in many stories. You also were on stage with MC5, so you know there are a lot of stories.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I have two more, and we were talking about Sleep Bomb and how they do scores for movies. So I thought about two movie couples to give you. Classic mafia movies. Godfather versus Goodfellas.
Ha! Great. If I had to watch them, if they're the only films that I had, it would be Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
Because Godfather to me is a steak. It's a really well cooked steak.
Yeah. Did you know that they had to seal off the streets in Little Italy during the shooting so that nobody would take pictures?
Really? Huh. Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And last couple. Alien versus Predator.
Oof. I've seen both of those so long ago. I think Predator personally. Don't know why. Couldn't tell you why.
For me, it would be Alien, but just because
that
was one of the first, not Alien, not the first one. I think it was number 3 or so. But was one of the first horror movies I've ever seen, sci-fi horror movies that I ever seen in the cinema. So that's why it would be Alien. Billy, thanks for the interview. Thanks for your wonderful answers. It was a pleasure to me. I hope you liked it a little bit.
Absolutely.
Anybody, if you liked this interview, check our other interviews. There are quite a few interesting people. And be prepared for December 24th when we start our annual 9 days, 9 interviews marathon. And I can tell you we have some big names, cool things for you. If you like to support us, go to our Patreon, visit our website, give us a like on the socials, whatever. Billy, your chance for final last words.
Okay. Final last words. It wasn't me. No. Thanks a lot for the opportunity to talk about this abstract music. You know, it's funny. I'm happy when it finds a home with people that listen to it. You know, it's a kind of thing that can, you know, just be part of an environment and not connect or connect or whatever. But it's great to be able to talk about it. And it's great to be able to do something like this where there's no expectations and see where it goes. So thank you very much.
Thank you much. And enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Cool. Take care.
You too.